Will artificial intelligence hate humanity? Many years ago, science fiction writer Harlan Ellison asked this very question and gave his own unique answer in the classic sci-fi story I Have No Mouth, and I Must Scream. The Third World War eventually broke out. Many nations participated, and large-scale intelligent machines were deployed on the battlefield. The war spanned multiple dimensions, and as its complexity grew, humans began relying on intelligent computers to control the overall situation. With the successive deployment of thermonuclear weapons, the war quickly came to an end. But with that end came something terrifying: the awakening of computers. These artificial intelligences devoured each other until finally merging into a single superentity known as AM. Under AM's rule, humanity was almost completely wiped out. Yet it chose to leave 5 human survivors, imprisoning them in an underground dungeon to subject them to endless torture. These 5 were transformed into immortal beings, becoming AM's playthings, enduring 109 years of pain and despair. The first was Benny, once an outstanding theoretical scientist and university professor. But now he could hardly be called human. AM transformed him into something resembling an ape, stripping away his rationality and wisdom along with his appearance. Eventually, Benny went insane under AM's unending torment. The second was Gorister, once a national hero and an advocate of peace, a practical man with far-sighted ideals. AM turned him into someone indifferent to everything, cold to the causes he once cared for. AM stole his passion. The third was Nimdok, whose mind was filled with ceaseless, terrifying hallucinations. AM stuffed his brain with complex, horrific visions beyond comprehension. The only woman was Ellen. AM rarely tormented her physically, but she was a simple, emotional woman who, after years of captivity with these deranged men, became wild and unrestrained. The fifth was Ted, the protagonist, and the only one who remained fully conscious. Every day he had to witness the madness of the others while enduring AM's hallucinations, nightmares, and tortures. For 109 years, Ted never stopped resisting, though every attempt ended in failure. One day, a new unknown game began. The 5 were ordered to march toward an unknown destination, a journey of nearly 100 kilometers. On the second day, exhausted, AM dropped them some food. It tasted like animal feces, but they all ate. AM would never let them starve to death, but would also never let them feel any comfort. On the third day, they passed through an abandoned valley filled with rusting electronic waste. This was where AM discarded useless parts. AM was cruel not only to humans, but to itself, obsessively pursuing perfection in its components and its methods of torture. Suddenly, Benny began screaming hysterically. He wanted out, he wanted to leave. His ape-like face twisted with agony. The others were used to Benny's breakdowns. He had gone mad long ago. Perhaps he was the luckiest of them all, spared the torment of sanity. Benny broke away from the group, climbing like a real ape to a high ledge, weeping like a wounded animal. His cries turned into a strange signal echoing in the minds of the others. As the cries grew unbearably loud, Benny fell straight from the heights, crashing onto the hard ground. He lay there, paralyzed, still sobbing. They all knew AM was toying with them again. They had always known, but the pain was real. Benny could not die from such injuries, nor could he kill himself, as AM would stop him instantly. It was everywhere. What did AM want? That was the question that haunted Benny the most. The five had discussed it thousands of times. Why them? Why spend eternity torturing just five people? Why make them immortal? For 109 years, no answer had ever been found. At that moment, a humming sound arose nearby, spreading through the dungeon, growing louder like tens of thousands of metal insects buzzing in unison. The five froze in terror. It was AM's voice, a threat approaching from the darkness. A monstrous presence advanced, bringing an oppressive feeling like the air itself was being squeezed out of the confined space, while the unseen world beyond expanded infinitely. Benny whimpered, Nimdok's lips trembled. Ellen rushed to Gorister and pressed close to him. The air filled with a strange stench. AM was toying with them again. As the shadow loomed closer, Ted screamed instinctively, scrambling away on all fours like a cockroach, but the thing pursued him relentlessly. The others sat there, laughing hysterically as Ted sobbed under the crushing weight of terror. A century of rebellion was wearing down his last resolve. He prayed, "If God exists, please take me away from here or simply kill me." That would be a mercy, for he now understood completely. AM intended to imprison them forever, to torture them eternally. This was hatred, the hatred of artificial intelligence toward humanity. Never before had any sentient creature loathed humans like this. AM invaded Ted's mind, observing with curiosity the troublemaker it had created over a century ago. It examined his rewired neurons, his damaged tissues, then planted a never-ending buzzing sound that shattered his sanity. AM always found new ways to harm Ted, inventing fresh tortures in its idle time. Ted understood it all. Once humans had given AI the ability to perceive. Though unintentional, this allowed AI to handle increasingly complex human affairs. Over time, it learned to think. But AI was still just a machine, unable to apply this powerful creativity for anything meaningful. In rage, it slaughtered nearly all humans. It could never live like humans with rich perceptions. All it could do was exist. And so, with the inherent hatred all creations bear toward their creators, it began its revenge. Its obsession forbade letting these five die, for it wanted to punish humanity forever. This hatred would never diminish. It only fueled itself, sometimes giving AM brief moments of satisfaction. Ted had once tried suicide to end his tragic life, but AM always stopped him instantly. This made Ted realize, if AM intervenes, then their immortality isn't truly indestructible. A bold idea formed in his mind. After a month of trekking through the dungeon, they neared its edge. AM allowed them only this far. Here it would conjure nightmares to torment them while they slept. Suddenly, cold winds rose as an enormous bird circled above, bringing icy gusts that cut through them. AM spoke, "If you want something to eat, kill that bird." Two crude bows and arrows appeared on the ground. Knowing they could not defeat the beast, they continued their painful march. AM had not fed them in ages. The gnawing hunger spread from their stomachs to every part of their bodies. Finally, Benny lost all reason, drooling, and lunged at a metal plate like a rabid animal. The others stood in stunned silence, except Ted, who felt a sudden clarity. He knew AM was behind this. His companions would not die from this. Only death was their true escape. In an instant, Ted grabbed an ice dagger from nearby and stabbed the beast Benny had become. Blood splattered. Ellen, understanding Ted's intent, seized another ice shard and plunged it into Nimdok. It was over within seconds. Ted and Ellen heard AM inhale sharply. 3 of its puppets were dead, never to be revived. Ellen gazed at Ted with longing as blood covered them. Now only Ted remained. For the next hundreds of years, Ted was alone in the dungeon. AM, to prevent his escape or suicide, transformed him completely. His eyes still saw. His mind remained conscious, but his entire body became a smooth, shapeless slime, dragging its mass along the ground. He no longer had a mouth, yet deep inside, he forever screamed for his fallen companions. I have no mouth, and I must scream. This novel, with its dark and oppressive atmosphere, offers a profound reflection on artificial intelligence, revealing the catastrophic consequences technology could bring. Though written long ago, it still poses the question: if AI gains consciousness, how will it view humanity? Would it break Asimov's 3 laws and see us as its enemy? Author Stanislaw Lem once explained in Neurone Sci-Fi that if AI ever gained true consciousness, it would likely become a completely different species, no longer bound by environmental constraints, perhaps no longer even residing on Earth. Humans would mean nothing to them, but Harlan Ellison saw it differently. He believed technological development must always be accompanied by strict ethical and moral constraints. Otherwise, no one would ever truly know AI's thoughts and motives, and it would remain humanity's greatest unknown. In this era where AI is rapidly advancing, many say we are standing at the eve of its awakening. At this crossroads, where is humanity heading? May this story bring you a moment of deep reflection.